About this time in the summer of 1776, the Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia to finalize the Declaration of Independence. And today, the U.S. Open started at the Country Club in Brookline, Mass. The folks at TaylorMade decided to have a little fun and honor America's founding with a new bag for the players they sponsor. Tea-stained color reflects the 300 sheets of tea dumped into the Boston Harbor, April 1775, the night Paul Revere left Boston. Lanterns Paul Revere carried. Ball pouch design inspired by the American uniforms worn. Scripted 246, nod to the 1913 champion Francis Omelette. Base medallion pay homage to the Freedom Trail. What's better is that TaylorMade's players include Rory McIlroy from Northern Ireland and Tommy Fleetwood, an Englishman. History, as they say, is written by the victors. Hillary Fordwich used to play professional golf, now comments on everything British and golf involved. I feel like Rory and Tommy have kind of taken this in stride.
Well, actually, first of all, let me just, sorry to correct you, but I didn't play professional golf.
Pardon me.
Won 3 club championships, but not professionally. Wasn't paid for it, I must say. Yes, no, Rory's doing really well. I have to say, with regard to the bag, though, the victors in all of this, Leland, that's certainly the marketers there at TaylorMade. I mean, we're talking about it. When was the last time, Leland, that you even mentioned anybody's bag? So it's actually rather a brilliant marketing stroke, I do think. I will make note that I think those English boys and Rory McIlroy, of course, from Northern Ireland, the British boy, I think they're all doing rather well. They're all there up at the top of the leaderboard. So maybe it's inspired them. Who knows? You
know, it's funny you say that because I texted somebody who worked at TaylorMade and said, hey, is there a chance to get somebody on to talk about the golf bag? No one has ever talked about the golf bag at a golf tournament. We did, though. I think they may object if we made them wear different clothes. We have Tommy Fleetwood and McIlroy, them there as golfers, and if they were forced to wear perhaps American colonial garb, that wouldn't really probably have gone over quite as well.
No.
All right. What has happened, though, with golf over the past couple of years? Because now it's carried in a way and talked about in a way that it just wasn't even 3-4 years ago.
Oh, you're totally right, Leland. And of course, this whole Live Tour has been a real shake-up for the golf industry. And Rory was asked in the post-press conference up there in Boston area, he was asked about being now, he's like the sort of the moral compass for golf. And as he said, he never meant to be this. He didn't want to be this. I think one of his comments was rather good, actually. He said that any decision he thinks anybody ever makes purely and only just for the money isn't a good decision. And he said he still lives in the same 3 or 4 rooms in his house. And I think for anybody, there comes a point when how many more millions really change your life? That was sort of his view. He didn't intend to be this, you know, he's a sort of like the spokesperson for morality versus money. I will say, though, Leland, for all the big detractors, just to look at the other side of it, you know, everybody's talking about taking the moral high ground. But when people put gas in their car, and about 12% of our gas does come from Saudi Arabia, people don't stop putting gas in their car because they take the moral high ground. And certainly the PGA does a lot with China. So I do think there's a lot of finger pointing there.
You mentioned China. It's a great point. I was thinking more, not even the Saudi Live Tour sort of looking forward, but just the resurgence of golf has sort of come back in a way. Was it the pandemic? Was it just a different need for a different outlet than baseball and basketball and football? But now these golfers are a household name.
You're absolutely right, Leland. I think a lot of it was due to the pandemic. Don't forget, what else could we do? I mean, during lockdown as an individual, and also I think the Wall Street Journal had an article on this, which is people that have played tennis and golf when they're younger, they stay fitter and more healthy. So during the pandemic, what did everybody of a certain age do? Or even kids, what could they do? You can go out on a golf course and you could do it during the pandemic. That's number one. But with regard to a sport that goes through to your longevity, don't forget the graying of America. The demographic is perfect.
It's a great point. It's really a great point. Hillary, unfortunately, we have to go. I could spend a whole hour, though, talking about the U.S. Open. I'll do it with my dad over this Father's Day weekend. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.